SCP-119, timcrowave. Object class, Euclid. Special containment procedures. SCP-119 is to remain open and unplugged at all times except during testing. The door to the room in which SCP-119 resides is to be locked for all periods except during examination. With the entry codes given, only the authorized research and security personnel and industrial-grade disinfection will be available nearby at all times. And the inside of SCP-119 is to be heavily disinfected before any testing. The contents of SCP-119 are to be monitored through the viewing window on SCP-119 at all times during testing, and will be stopped immediately should the contents become hostile or otherwise damaging to SCP-119. Description: SCP-119 is a Panasonic redacted microwave oven. It is initially discovered by an agent who had bought it from liquidation and sale of the assets from Redacted Valley Vineyards. It is believed that Redacted Valley Vineyards is using the anomalous properties of SCP-119 to rapidly age its products and create expensive vintages. Records show Redacted Valley Vineyards making under-the-table sales of vintage dated as far back as 19 Redacted, many years before the company's inception in 2005. These sales are what led to this lawsuit accusing the company of falsifying. Test 1-2. Okay, we're back. Sales that are what led to the lawsuits accusing the company of falsifying product information and other forms of fraud eventually caused Redacted Valley Vineyards to declare bankruptcy. SCP-119 appears to be a standard model microwave in all color specs, except for the magnetron unit does not produce microwave radiation. Instead, the magneticron emits a previously unknown type of radiation that accelerates time. The amount of time accelerated is based on the time input given on the start. Power level settings and the time input allows for 3 digits, and there are 5 power level stages. On power level 1, the number of seconds input equals the number of seconds experienced within the microwave. Therefore, an input of 30 seconds would cause the microwave to run for 30 seconds, at the end of which the object will age 30 seconds. Each subsequent power level past 1 causes an exponential increase the acceleration of time. At power level 2, with an input of 30 seconds, the microwave will run for 30 seconds and the contents will have aged 900 seconds. 15 minutes, or 30 seconds times 30 seconds. At power level 5, with an input of 999 seconds, the microwave will run for 999 seconds and the contents will have aged by 995 trillion, 9 billion, 990 million, 4,999 seconds, 31,529,964 years. Experimentation with the other buttons in the microwave have not resulted into any anomalous properties, although they do still function as they would expectedly from a normal microwave. The minute plus button, for example, adds 60 seconds, and the defrost function prompts the user to open the door and flip the contents periodically. Pressing the plus minute button during operation, however, does not recalculate the adjusted time acceleration, merely causing the contents to age at the pre-calculated rate for another 60 seconds. E.g. power level 2 for 30 seconds would age for 900 seconds, 15 minutes. Input of minute plus would result in the microwave running for 90 seconds and aging the contents 2,700 seconds, 45 minutes, or 30 squared cubed, instead of aging the contents of 8,100 seconds, 135 minutes, or 90x90. SCP-119 can be dismantled and repaired. Replacement parts can be substituted for every component except the magnetron. Placing the magnetron on any other microwave, including duplicates of the same model, the magnetron continues to exhibit the same acceleration. However, replicating the effects of anything above power level 2 failed in every model except the original microwave in which the magnetron was found. Although SCP-119, like all standard microwave models, normally function only when the door is closed during deconstruction, it was determined that disabling the closing mechanism allows the device to work while open. Subsequently, testing determined that the radiation emitted from SCP-119 has a fallout pattern very similar to the microwave radiation it replaced. However, further experiments operating SCP-119 while open now require the approval of clearance level 4 personnel. Addendum. After subsequent testing, it has been determined that the accelerated time experience within SCP-119 is not accelerated from the perspective of those being affected, instead causing the occupants to perceive that they are simply staying inside the microwave for the adjusted duration. Should living creatures be exposed to SCP-119 for extended durations, they could quite quickly die of starvation, as they would require as much sleep as food as they would outside SCP-119. Therefore, examination with living beings now requires the approval of clearance level 4 personnel. Furthermore, due to the possibility of microorganisms undergoing acceleration evolution within SCP-119, industrial-grade disinfectant has been added as the containment procedure of SCP-119. Test log for SCP-119. Logged in the following format: contents, time input, power level, test results. Test log SCP-119. Contents: cup of lukewarm coffee. Time input 90 seconds. Power level 1. Test results: agent attempted to reheat his coffee, microwave activated and ran for 1 minute. Coffee was still cool upon removal. Contents: cup of lukewarm coffee. Time input 60 seconds. Power level 4. Test results: agent increased power level, assuming the first setting was too weak. Microwave activated and ran for 1 minute. Upon opening the door, agent discovered his coffee had grown to a thick layer of mold and scum, consistent with the amount that would be expected from Libya coffee out of 5 months. At this point, the agent brought the microwave to the attention of the Foundation. Contents: stopwatch. Time input, 30 seconds. Power level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Test results. A series of tests conducted to determine the effects of various power levels on time fluctuation. Resulting time in stopwatch was 30 seconds, 15 minutes, 7 hours, 30 minutes, and 99 hours, 99 minutes, 99 seconds. There was no result for the last test, as the battery had died. Subsequent tests using a more powerful stopwatch with a larger display resulted in 9 days, 9 hours, and 281 days, 6 hours for the last 2 settings. Contents: Ratus novagus, common lab rat. Time input, 60. Power level, 4. Test results. Testing had expected the subject to age 5 months. Upon entering the timer, subject became a blur, barely visible with a rapid boom around the container. At 3 seconds, subject ceased all movement. At 5 seconds, subject began rotting rapidly. Testing was halted at 10 seconds. An SCP-119 was cleaned of excrement and remains of subject. Cause of death was determined to be dehydration. Contents: common lab rat. Small cage with lining. External automatic food and water dispenser filled up to 5 months. Fresh food and water attached to tubes routed through our vent. Time input, 60 seconds. Power level, 4. Test results. Upon starting the timer, subject became a blur, rapidly moving throughout the cage. Both the food and water supplies drained from their containers rapidly. 60 seconds, subject found to be dirty due to the unclean cage, but otherwise fine. SCP-119 cleaned. Exam revealed subject to be in poor health due to its living conditions in the unclean cage, both no abnormality. Contents: 1 liter of water in a shallow glass bowl. Temperature in room containing SCP-119 lowered to 1 Celsius. Time input, 600. Power level, 5. Test results. Time inside SCP-119 intended to be approximately 24.7 years with an initial input of 60 seconds. Test intended to determine the age of the atmosphere and heat transfer between the inside and outside of SCP-119. As demonstrated by the evaporation of water at near freezing temperatures, the research insisted entering the time at an extra 0, bringing the total time to 2,465,753 years, or over 4,000 years a second. On pressing enter, an immense amount of air began to circle through the vent. The system immediately recognized the mistake and opened the door in one timer. It's off the timer, at which point a wave of blush spores emitted from 119 and its thesis, and the thesis began to choke and quickly asphyxiate. Subsequent testing in atmospheric conditions revealed low oxygen and high carbon dioxide levels, as well as elevated levels of sulfur. The spores were found to be unknown xerophilic species of mold. Within SCP-119 was a dense ecosystem of mold and tardigrades, water bears, along with numerous and unknown species, some of which not nearly fit within existing categories. The entire ecosystem was created a balanced atmosphere and seemed best stemmed from the original constants of the water, air, and system. In light of the test, contained procedures have been updated to include industrial disinfectant. Contents: none. Doors removed from microwave for duration of this experiment. SCP-119 placed in the middle of a large Faraday cage room with freshly painted doors using paint that changed color as it dries. Time input 30. Power level 3. Test results. SCP-119 remotely activated all testing observed remotely. Resultant paint pattern demonstrated the fall-off of radiation from the microwave. Paint closest to the front of the door demonstrating 8 hours of drying, and the further section of the door behind the microwave demonstrated close to 2 hours of drying. Contents: none. Doors removed from the microwave for duration of this experiment. SCP-119 was placed in the middle of a large Faraday cage from dried paint. Lightweight floating debris and dust was released into the room through a vent. Time input 30. Power level 30. Test result. SCP-119 is remotely activated and all testing observed remotely. Pattern of complex air currents reflecting the pattern left of the paint merged as individual particles float between the stronger and weaker radiant. Radiation did not actually apply any force to the particles, but rather affected their momentum and relativation into each other, eventually evolving into a detectable air current pattern. Contents: SCP-442. Time input 90. Power level 5. Testing results: SCP-442 continued to keep the correct time during the entire duration, showing 1 minute 30 seconds of time passing over the course of the experiment. Contents: SCP-289. Time input 90. Power level 5. Test results: none. Permission to carry out experiment denied. Not funny. Do we really need to explain why this is a bad idea? You already know exactly what it will do. 05-Redact. Contents: bottle of Macallan 12-year scotch. Time input 60. Power level 5. Test results. During previous testing, researchers had been joking as they should nuke themselves a drink, and one researcher retrieved a bottle of Macallan from his quarters. The 12-year vintages are relatively inexpensive to obtain, but 25 or 30-year vintages are considered to be some of the best fall scotch commercially available. On completion of test, the bottle was effectively a 37-year vintage. Intention of test had been consumed during subsequent tests, but at the point the intent had been heard by a superior, allowed the researchers to keep the bottle as long as they waited until off-duty to consume it. Subsequent testing determined that the results of the experiment were delicious. Dr. Grant. It seemed Dr. Grant is a rather poor whiskey connoisseur, as whiskey does not age outside of the barrel. The delicious experiment resulted in a 37-year-old bottle of 12-year-aged scotch. Well done, Dr. Dunn. I stand by my initial assessment. Delicious. Dr. Grant.